Hello, race fans, and welcome into my impressions of NASCAR Heat 5. The game's been out for about a week now. I got it on early access because I paid for the more expensive version, but I wanted to share my thoughts and opinions with you as somebody who has over 25 years of sim racing experience, who did an entire playthrough of NASCAR Heat 4 and has played previous NASCAR Heat titles. I want to make this video to help you understand what NASCAR Heat 5 is, how it's different than NASCAR Heat 4, and ultimately, if this is a game that you should be spending money on. All right, so throughout the course of this impressions video, you're going to see just gameplay in the background from the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series, and there's going to be a few things that I highlight as well, and when those come up on screen, I'll give my thoughts on those. But let's start with the gameplay. The gameplay itself is exactly the same as NASCAR Heat 4. There's been no change there. Everything handles the same, feels the same, looks the same. It's all the same. And you're going to hear me use that word a lot in this video. Same. There's no changes. And that's an unfortunate thing to report, but that was something that I think a lot of people knew was coming. That this game was going to be exactly the same as NASCAR Heat 4. It's the last game for this console generation. It's the last game on the Unity engine. So that leads me to believe that the NASCAR Heat 6 release is going to be different. It's going to be a step forward, hopefully, for this franchise. It needs to be. If NASCAR Heat 6 comes out and it's not different than what we've gotten, it's probably going to be the end of this franchise. So my expectations coming into this game were that it wasn't going to be widely different, that they weren't going to put a lot of effort or time or money into this because they were focusing on developing the next generation of NASCAR Heat games for the next generation of hardware and everything that's required to do that. So at least for me, it met that expectation, and that was pretty much the only expectation of mine that was met, and it wasn't a good one. So as you can see from the gameplay, the AI act exactly the same as they did in NASCAR Heat 4. The contact, all that stuff is the same. I do want to mention that this game has improved force feedback. I drive on a Thrustmaster T300, and I can definitely feel a difference in this game versus NASCAR Heat 4 when it comes to force feedback. That was a welcome addition. You can certainly change the strength of force feedback, and you might need to. You can see here as I cycle through the cameras, 2 new cameras were introduced into this game. Sort of a far-away cam, which is where we started with this, and the new sort of roof cam, 2 versions of a roof cam. So that's nice. I like the far chase camera the best. I think it's a nice improvement over last year's chase camera. You can see a lot more going on around you, so I like that little addition. I think in the rearview mirror, having the spoiler in the rearview mirror is new for this game as well. If so, I think that's a nice touch too. Difficulty, all that stuff, all the same options exist as far as the settings go. Nothing new there. All the same options for difficulty and driver assists and all that is all there. Now, I've found throughout my playthrough in NASCAR Heat 4 and so far NASCAR Heat 5, it's difficult to strike a balance for your speed versus the AI speed, especially as tires wear. It's very difficult to find a balance where either you're on par with the AI or they're just dominating you or you're dominating them. It's very hard to strike that balance where it actually feels fair, no matter what the AI difficulty is set at. So that's an unfortunate thing to see. Either, the beginning of a run, the AI are super strong, and then their tires wear out, and then it's like they're nerfed into the ground, and all of a sudden you're Superman, or vice versa. And that's not a very fun experience, unfortunately. Another thing that I want to talk about in this game are the yellow flags. They seemingly happen during a green flag run for no reason. And there's no replay to show you why the yellow flag flew if you don't see it yourself. How is that not a feature? That used to be a feature. Why is that feature gone? Here's another thing that really grinds my gears about this game. The loading screens. Somehow, they managed to make the loading screens in NASCAR Heat 5 insanely longer than NASCAR Heat 4. NASCAR Heat 4 was snappy. Loading screens were minimal. But you know what? We got loading screens, And we've got advertisements now in the loading screens for this game. So maybe that's why they take longer, because they got to load the Fanatec advertisements. I don't know. But maybe that'll get patched. Maybe they'll fix that. But for right now, loading screens take forever. Here's a really bad thing. Tate Fogelman. They've misspelled the poor man's last name. It's not E-L, it's L-E. And he's not the only one who had to deal with this, unfortunately, where they misspelled the drivers' names. The drivers are the stars of this game. They're the stars of the sport. How do you not get their names spelled right? You wouldn't spell the name of a sponsor wrong. How are you spelling the name of a driver wrong? That is just absolute horrific quality control. Awful quality control. Proofreading. Checking the content to make sure it's right. You can't get this stuff wrong. I just don't understand how they let a game go out the door with drivers' names spelled incorrectly. But like I said, Tate Fogelman was not the only one, as we look at these Xfinity cars, not the only one to have that happen to him. Landon Castle. His last name's not spelled correctly either. It's supposed to be 2 L's. It says so on the back of his car, but here in the menu, only 1 L. And this really blows my mind because Landon Castle was in NASCAR Heat 4 on the Cup side, driving for Starcom. Now he's in the Xfinity Series. How do you get that wrong? Again, attention to detail, quality control, proofreading. None of that seemingly happened in this game. Now, I fire up Atlanta here, but I'm going to back out of it because I wanted to show a different track. But you can see the advertisements that are loaded into the loading screen now for Fanatec. They're all over the place. And again, the loading screens are so much longer in this game than they were in NASCAR Heat 4. For a game that's largely just an asset flip, I don't understand how that happens. But you'll see just how long this loading screen is, and I can only imagine how much longer it takes on console. Awful. Absolutely awful. And to stuff advertisements into it is, not a good look, I don't think. So, speaking of not a good look, that brings me to my point about the overall state of this game as it launched. Now, you could go on Reddit, you could go on Twitter. There's a lot of unhappy people, especially on the console side. As we see at the bottom, purchase the season pass to receive all of our DLC paint scheme releases in 2020. We'll get to that in a little bit in this video. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the state of release for this game was poor. Absolutely poor, and it seems to be worse on the console side. This is all PC. But the consoles, especially Xbox, seem to really be struggling. They released a patch, I think, on Friday, on the official release date, July 10th. But, yeah, seemingly a lot of problems on console. And you can see on the back glass here, Landon Castle, 2 L's there. So they got it right on the car paint scheme, but wrong in the menu. Mind-blowing. So, released with a bunch of bugs and glitches, people's save files were getting deleted as they progressed through a career mode or a championship season or whatever it is. That's not good. That's not good at all. You can't have people's save files getting deleted. They put time and effort into playing the game and building up their career just to have it all wiped away because of poor programming and poor quality control. That's awful. Awful. But not only that, visual glitches, which I'm not going to show here. You can see it. You can go on Reddit or, again, Twitter and find it. Wall art. I think it was New Hampshire, the Geico restart zone. The Geico on the walls is all messed up. Somebody pointed out that Victory Lane, the trophy for Victory Lane, still says NASCAR Heat 4 on it. That's a big yikes. That is a big yikes. I mean, it's bad enough that all the celebrations, all the cutscenes, everything are all the same. How do you miss that? How do you bring over that asset and not update it? I understand all the assets from NASCAR Heat 4 were just brought over. They didn't have to do anything. They just retitled them. But you gotta update them to be the current thing for the current game. I mean, geez almighty. That is just, again, attention to detail, quality control, not existing. Speaking of glitches, audio glitches. The same audio glitches exist in this game as did in NASCAR Heat 4. Specifically, Two that come to mind, one being the persistent pit stop sounds that will continue to play throughout a race after you make a green flag pit stop. I had it happen in my season opener at Daytona in my Heat 5 career mode series. Make a green flag pit stop, finish the race, and you can still hear impact wrenches going for the rest of the race. Even after the race is over, in the menus, post-race menus, you can hear impact wrenches like they're changing tires. Ridiculous. The other audio glitch, the AI engines and crowd noises on restarts. Certain restarts, the audio gets all distorted. And depending on where you are in the RPM range, the computer car engine noises in the crowd will distort and go in and out. Yes, this is how I know it's a NASCAR Heat game. The audio glitch on restarts. Thank you. Very cool. The only way to fix it is to cycle through all the camera views. So you cycle through all the cameras, and then the audio glitch is fixed. I don't know why that's still a thing. How is that not fixed? Is that an engine problem? What is it? How is that not addressed? I don't get that. And the third issue, the AI zooming away from you on restarts. From time to time on certain restarts, the AI will absolutely have rockets attached to their cars and just completely drive away from you. And it's absolutely maddening when it happens, especially at plate tracks because you lose the draft. That's not fun, and that's not a new thing. How that's not been addressed by now, I have no idea. A year passed between releases. How has none of this stuff been addressed? I'm not a game developer. I don't know the first thing about coding. But I'll tell you what. To not address these things, to not even talk about them, say, hey, we're aware of this. We know these things exist and we're working on it. Or, hey, we are aware of these, but we can't fix it because the engine doesn't allow us to, or whatever the case may be as we look at the Cup Series cars now. The fact that it's not addressed, yeah. And they're still charging full price, yeah. Again, not a good look. So we look at the Cup cars. They got some of these cars have secondary paint schemes. Like Ryan Newman there, nice on the Castrol. Yep. But as we go through these cars, you're going to see the two special cars here, the Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart, that you get, I guess, when you buy the more expensive version. Big deal. But then we get into all these NASCAR Heat Pro Series drivers. Like, nothing against these guys. I don't know any of them, really. They all got here because they're good. Why the hell are these cars in this game? Nobody's buying NASCAR Heat to drive those paint schemes. So they took the time to make all those paint schemes and stuff them into this game. But they didn't fix the core issues with the game that the fans have been asking to be fixed for years. What's up, Elliot Henderson? I mean, Bobby Carter. Again, it's just not a good look. It just doesn't come off the right way when you charge customers full price for a supposed new title, as we look at all the tracks in the game, and you fill it with stuff that nobody asked for. Now, again, for these NASCAR Heat Pro Series drivers, they're in a video game. That's cool as hell. I'm not in a video game. I would love to be in a video game. Never going to happen. So for those guys to see themselves in their car in this game, that's way cool, man. That's awesome. But again, if you take a step back to the average consumer who's been supporting this series and buying these titles year after year, you look at that and say, well, gee, they took the time and development to put all that into the game. Why didn't they put the stuff in the game that we want, that we've been asking for, that needs to get fixed? Where's all that? Again, just not a good look. And speaking of not a good look, let's take a look at the road course racing on the Roval here. It's still terrible. It's been terrible. You'll see the AI cars weeble-wobbling around because physics, they're struggling to understand how to get around this racetrack. Again, this might be a Unity engine problem. This might be the fact that it's not a AAA game. I don't know. But road course racing in this game has been bad and continues to be bad in this game. Why? Because it's the same game. Nothing's changed. So as we watch this and all of that, I want to talk about the annualized release method that we see in sports games. That business model that's, we see it in Madden, we see it in FIFA, we see it in NBA 2K, MLB The Show. Anything that releases every year experiences this problem, and now NASCAR Heat is very much into that cycle. There's no innovation. There's nothing new added to the game to rationalize the asking price. If you sat somebody down in front of a console or PC, had them play NASCAR Heat 4, NASCAR Heat 5 back to back, and didn't tell them which was which, aside from updated paint schemes, they wouldn't be able to tell you which was which. They wouldn't. Everything from NASCAR Heat 4 is here in NASCAR Heat 5. The My Team mode, all the same menus, all the same stuff. All the same pictures, all the same menus. It's all the same. There's nothing new or innovative about it. And that speaks to the larger issue, to the fact that this is the only show in town when it comes to a NASCAR game on console. A dedicated, licensed NASCAR game on console. This is it. This is all you're getting. So there's no competition. So, unfortunately, a developer has no motivation to really do a whole lot to change things, because what's the consumer going to do? There's no other option. Can't go buy another NASCAR game. There isn't one. And that's a huge problem. There's nothing forcing them to be innovative. There's nothing forcing them to take steps forward, even if there's a new console on the way and a new generation, a new engine. There's no consequences for being lazy in development. And I don't like to throw out the word lazy. I really don't. But it comes off as lazy as we look at another one of my favorite parts of road course racing, the curbs just spinning you out. Yep, that's still a thing. I don't think anyone's lazy because they put time and effort into making this happen. I understand that. But again, to the average person playing this game, it comes across as lazy. What did you spend a year doing in between releases? Not working on this game, that much is for sure. They did not put a lot of time and effort and care into this game. Again, I hate to hammer on them. They're trying to do the best that they can, and I promise you, their time and attention and care has been put into NASCAR Heat 6, developing that game on a new engine for new consoles. And that's unfortunately left NASCAR Heat 5 to be ignored, to just be a asset flip. Same experience. As we look at the race modes, there's that test session that nobody asked for that is touted as a huge new deal. There's your challenges. Notice there were 3 slots there for challenges. 2 of them locked behind a DLC paywall. And here come your challenges. And I want to show you this last one because it's another example of a lack of attention to detail, quality control, and proofreading. Look at that second to last sentence. This is your opportunity to show everyone that you're as good a driver as anyone else. You're. Y-O-U-R. No, I believe that needs to be Y-O-U-R apostrophe R-E. You are. Come on, guys. You need a proofreader? I can help you out. So again, 3 challenge slots, 2 of them locked behind downloadable content. Just like the paint schemes that they want to charge you for. How in the hell are you going to charge customers for paint schemes and challenges in a game that, as this store says, no content available? I think that's the perfect summation for NASCAR Heat 5. No content available. I know that's pretty harsh. And again, I got nothing but love for the developers, for guys like Elliot Henderson, community manager, and part of that dev team. But after spending time with this, almost a week with this game, I can't give it a glowing review. I can't say that it's, a title that's worth $50. It's an asset flip. It feels exactly the same. And unfortunately, the consumer loses out this year. All right, guys, so that was my NASCAR Heat 5 impressions, my thoughts, my opinions on this game. Not much good to say. It's exactly the same as NASCAR Heat 4. From all appearances, from all playthrough time, it's exactly the same. It's a copy-paste. It's our worst fears realized, and it's what I expected it to be. So, can I recommend the game? That depends on your situation. If you want to play the latest and greatest NASCAR Heat title, then this is it. It's a roster update with drivers' names who are spelled wrong, the same audio glitches as last year, visual glitches, new problems, but it's got a couple new camera angles, got better force feedback. That's about it. I don't know what else I can say that's positive about the game. It's a low cost to benefit ratio game. So if you're on the fence about buying it, I hope that my thoughts and opinions can drive you towards a more informed decision. Is it a bad game? No, it's not a bad game. I can have fun with this game. I make the game fun when I make content on YouTube. I make it fun for myself. And if you set your expectations at a reasonable level, then I think you can have fun with this game. But if you go into it expecting it to be different than last year's game, or if you've never played this game before, expecting it to be like a small step down from iRacing, or similar to like a NASCAR Thunder game, if you like that series, this is not it. This is a very casual console racer that you can play on PC too. It's casual, it's goofy, it has flaws, and the fact that it's an annualized franchise and they're going to charge full price for a game that's exactly the same as last year's, for a game that is going to charge you $20 more to play early, which is past that now, but for content that makes no difference. Tony Stewart as a spotter is awful. Nobody cares about the paint schemes. Nobody cares about the testing session mode that they brought into this game. The fan base asked for things. They wanted an improved paint booth. Didn't get it. But we got DLC coming. So you're going to have to pay more money if you want those other paint schemes. They didn't bring anything new into this game except 2 camera angles and improved force feedback. Maybe there's other things they brought in that I don't see or that I don't care about. But if you're going to charge full price for a game that's exactly like its predecessor, has misspelled drivers' names, and then ask for more money after the purchase for additional content, challenges, and paint schemes, that's not it, man. That is a scummy business practice. And I would hate to see 704 Games and their other business entities that they're working with to make this game happen go down the path of EA. That is not a path that you want to go down if you want to maintain your loyal player base, because you're going to piss people off. It's already bad enough you're charging full price for a copy-paste game. And I understand next year's game is probably going to be a huge step forward. New consoles, new engine, I get it. But again, it's not a good look to ask people to spend $50 and then after the fact ask them to spend more money for assets you already had made. Challenges that were already in the game. Have 3 tiers of challenges, and one of them's available at the asking price up front. 2 of them locked behind a paywall. Paint schemes that are already in the game, in last year's game probably too. Come on. Don't do that to your player base. The NASCAR community is a very loyal group. They support the people that support the sport that they love. Don't run afoul by this community. I'm telling you, it's not going to work out in your favor. And for the love of God, please move this franchise forward in a positive way in NASCAR Heat 6. If you don't, you're going to lose this community. They will find alternatives. There may not be another NASCAR licensed game for console out there, They'll figure it out. It's a resourceful bunch. Or at the end of the day, they're just not going to buy it. Take notes from your predecessors, the other companies that tried to make NASCAR games before these ones started coming around. Try to learn from their failures. See where they went afoul with this small niche community of motorsports fans. I hope this video helped you in the end, and if it did, let me know by leaving a thumbs up on it, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on NASCAR Heat 5. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Are you on the fence about it? Did this video help you make a purchasing decision? And so why? What do you want to see in NASCAR Heat 6? We all got a long list of things that we want to see. And I hope that because there was no time and attention put into this game, that means that the developers were truly putting all their time and attention into the next one. Time will tell, but I appreciate you spending your time watching this video. And as always, be good. Be good to each other. We'll see you in the next video.